Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizzano, and this is another episode of the world famous, The University of Love. Ladies and gentlemen, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. But ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves. Ladies and gentlemen, if you hear noise, I tell you what. Every time I'll tell you right now, I'll give you the scenario of the episode I'm recording. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, I am here in Louisiana. We are in Shreveport, Louisiana. We are parked next to some truck, and they have a refrigerated trailer. And you might not be able to hear it, but ladies and gentlemen, it is very loud noise that these people are making. Every time I want to record, ladies and gentlemen, this is no lie. I'm not even exaggerating. A lot of times when I want to record early in the morning, because it's 2:30 a.m. Central Time right now, okay? And every time I wake up to record an episode this early, there's always something going on next door to me. One night, I remember I was going to record, and some guy just kept playing his music loud and loud and loud and loud. And it was very annoying. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to wait. And today I said, you know what? The heck with it. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about something very important. We are going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever gotten to the point in life where you're like, I am going to either do this or I'm going to die trying? Ladies and gentlemen, you remember when you was young, right? Of course. You remember when you first started liking whoever and however you liked. Man, woman, boy, girl, them, they. It does not matter. And mainly, especially guys, because most of the time you have to muster up enough courage to ask a young lady out. And you sit there and you ponder sometimes, you know, because I'll give you a quick we'll veer off real quick. I got a brother, and my brother, he had this thing about him which I was very jealous about. My brother had no fear when it came to asking a woman out. From the time we were kids, from the time he got like 13, 14, he had no problems in asking women out. And I was always like, it would always take me, first I would have to think about it. Then I had to create a story. Then I had to build this up in my mind, like, and then I would go, well, if she says no, blah, 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 blah. And then I would finally get to the point where I said, you know what? Do it or die. And that was the build up in my head, you know, about asking them out, you know. Sometimes they would say no, sometimes they would say yes. But it was very funny. After I got done asking them, whether they say yes or no, I was still alive, baby. I didn't die. So, you know, that's something. And so I was thinking today, you know, you get to writing stuff, and I've been doing a lot of writing, a lot of drafts, you know. Been writing a lot of stuff, writing a lot of drafts, and, you know, just writing stuff out, and I'm ready to start, you know, getting on the phone, getting on the computer, and, you know, doing the typing, the Microsoft Word, the typing, the editing, you know, and making real legit stories. And, you know, for a second today, I was thinking, you know, what if I'm not good, you know? And I'm like, you know what? Shut up. Do it or die trying, you know what I mean? Like you climb up that hill, you climb up, you climb up, you climb up, you get to the top, and you go, oh, let's go, let's give it a go, you know? And sometimes you just have to tell yourself, man, we either gonna do this, or I'm gonna die trying, you know? Do it or die trying. Sometimes it's just like that. Okay? So keep that in mind. And ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something else for a few minutes. That is scam artists, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, if you are young and impressionable, or if you are old and angry and upset and bitter, any kind of emotion, you know, if you feel like you're not where you want to be, if you feel like you're not making the money you want to make, one mistake that you should not do is go on social media, look at how other people are living their life. You see these people with blue check marks, maybe. You see these people sitting in front of a Lamborghini and all this kind of stuff, all this kind of nonsense, all this kind of jazz. Ladies and gentlemen, beware of the scammer. And ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to live in Atlanta, Georgia, and you listen to this podcast, you already know Atlanta, we home of the scammers. So you definitely have to watch out and do your research on everybody you come in contact with. Everybody that wants your $999, you know, everybody that wants your $1,500, your $2,500, you know, every podcast that talks about financial stuff, you know, you might want to give them a listen. I don't know if you know, but take things they say with a grain of salt, because a lot of times, a lot of people have platforms, and a lot of people, they get popular on these platforms, and then they start taking the payola. Okay, I know. My cousin used to tell me about these two guys. I'm not going to say the name of the podcast, because one day this podcast is going to be listened to by billions and billions of people, and I don't want to come back and get no lawsuits and all that kind of jazz. So we're not going to name anybody. But my cousin used to listen to this podcast with these two guys, and he kept talking about them, and I said, you know, they sound like scam artists. Because quite naturally, ladies and gentlemen, I do not trust anything on the internet. And you know why? Because I'm from a different time, okay? I was born in 1979. We did not have the internet. I'm from a small town where people love to exaggerate, stretch the truth, tell stories. They're very colorful stories, very entertaining stories, but I know like this, people love to lie. They love to lie, you know. One of my favorite books is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know. And I have respect for Robert Kiyosaki, but when you ever watch his YouTube channel now, it's always about what? He's a gloom and doom kind of fella now, you know. He's always talking about the economy is going to crash, the stock market's no good, this, that, and the other. And it's like, come on, man. I enjoyed your book. I liked your book. I think you're a smart guy, a successful guy. But I can't go with Robert Kiyosaki with all his doom and gloom about the economy. Because as we talked about the other day, economy does not matter when you increase your value. So number one, that's that. You can beat the economy. You can always beat the economy. People spend money during recessions. People spend money during inflations. People spend money during good times. People spend money. So that's never going to be a problem. You're going to increase your value, so you're not going to have to worry about that. Another person that, you know, Now I'm not bad. I did say earlier that I wasn't gonna name the pot because the reason why I could say Robert Kiyosaki because he wrote a book and I said, hey, I like his book. I'm not saying I don't like his book, but a lot of his YouTube stuff now is sort of doom and gloom. That's not, I'm not saying, hey, this guy's a scam artist or nothing like that. But I'm getting back around to the point. Point is, people build up platforms. Okay? People build up platforms and they start taking payola. And you will see a guy on here talking about, I saw a video with a young lady, she's talking about filed for bankruptcy, student loans, this, that, and the other. That sounded ridiculous. I seen another video where a guy, he was saying, just buy options. Listen, you can make money in the stock market, but what you need to do is not watch financial people on YouTube. You need to learn how to study the market. You need to learn about the market. You need to learn what's going on inside the market. You need to do your own research when it comes to the market. When it comes to anything, you need to do your own research because these people are more entertaining than anything. People on YouTube are entertainers. People on YouTube they're on YouTube for a reason. Listen, if me and you, well, thank you. If me and you were super duper rich, let's say both of us, me and you, I'm talking to you, me and you, right here, right now, me and you, if we had $300 million a piece, and you didn't have to tell anybody, you don't have to be famous, you don't have to be this, you don't have to be that. If they said, hey, here's $300 million, we both know I would not be recording this podcast, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure that you would not be listening to this podcast. Because why? Now, what I'm saying is, we don't have to. We wouldn't have to. $300 million, yeah, you might invest in the stock market, you might invest in real estate, you might do this, you might do that, but you wouldn't have to tell me about it. You wouldn't have to do, you could still do some research, but a lot of times, $300 million, I would be more like a passive investor. I would invest in stock. I would probably go invest in an index fund myself. Now, I'm not here to give you financial advice, but I probably would go invest in a couple of index funds, invest in like safe stuff like Walmart, Apple, and Amazon, stuff that, Procter and Gamble, I would do stuff like that. So I really wouldn't need a whole lot, I remember one time I had a discussion with my wife, and I had to give my wife the side eye. My wife said, yeah, we win $100 million. We would have to figure out how to turn that into $1 billion. I said, listen, honey, I love you to death, but we ain't got $100 million right now. So why would we get $100 million and all of a sudden think we're geniuses? We're gonna flip this. We're gonna turn this into $1 billion. We ain't gonna turn this into $1 billion. We're gonna take this $100 million and turn it into $105 million, maybe $106 million, maybe. But $100 billion, like 10 times, 100, however much percentage that is. Nah, I don't think so. I don't see it. But so when you see these people with big platforms, be careful, because a lot of times people pay them money to be on the platform, to promote themselves, to promote their business, and to get you to sign up for the $999 course about how you don't have to pay taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, I got some bad news for you. I don't care how old you are, you gotta pay taxes. From the time you get 15, 16, you start getting a job, you look at your check, And you go, man, who is FICA? And why are they in my pockets like this? You squint your eyes and you go, state, federal, medical, what is all this? You're paying taxes. It's just the way it is. Can you learn how to pay less taxes? Of course. Should you do that? Of course. But do your own research. Don't listen to every Jimmy Crack Corn out here online. Now listen. I say that, and you are listening to this program as we speak. But I will tell you like this. I am no con artist. Let me tell you something. I could not, because listen, I'm going to say things sometimes that are going to be contradictory. I'm going to say things sometimes that it could be, I could say something in the first 5 minutes of the show that contradicts what I say in the last 20 minutes of the show. But I'll tell you like this. I would never want somebody to pay, $900 for some for a fluff course that they can. A lot of this stuff, ladies and gentlemen, you can get online. You can go to Udemy. You can go. I took a writing class. I took a writing class for online. It was just like a writing class. It was like free. You could pay it if you want your certificate, but it was more like free. And I'm not saying don't pay for certain things, of course, but don't pay for these people online. Don't pay for a person with a man, I hate that. Well, don't buy. I saw this guy, he was doing Amazon automation. Don't buy that course. Don't pay somebody to do an Amazon automation store. I have a friend, he has an Amazon store. He says it's hard work. He said he's making some money. He said you do not need to pay $20,000 to have somebody build you a store. The reason why they want to build you a store is just because they want your $20,000. They're not going to build you a good store. He said you get in there, you start working it out, figuring out what you want to sell, and make it happen. That's what because he lost his job. My friend lost his job, and now he runs a little Amazon store. And his girlfriend, his wife, she has a party business they do, and he said he's making out pretty good. But he's not trying to sell a course. He's not trying to do this and do that. And you'll learn a lot of the times you can find information. The public library is a great place to go. I have a library card. The public I went one day. I rented this. I checked out a book at the library. It was a book about copywriting, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do this because the book was good. It was good and it was free. There was a lot of information, and I wrote down a lot of information, and it has helped me along the way. And so, buy books. You can read books. You can go to the library, check out books. You can go online, check out information for yourself. But what I'm basically saying is be aware, because it is getting to the point where it is so ridiculous online with these people and these scam artists, and it's very sad and it's very sickening because, there's a lot more. The world is big, but the world has become so small now because of the internet. You know what I mean? Before, now listen. Some of you that listen to this show will understand exactly what I'm talking about. My life growing up was very regional. My life growing up was very. I'm from Southeast Missouri. I'm from Missouri. So all I knew was from up St. Louis, and I barely knew anything about St. Louis. I knew about life within about 50 miles of my house. There was no internet. There was no. All I knew California had palm trees. I knew New York had the Statue of Liberty. I knew Chicago had the Sears Tower. But other than that, I didn't know a heck of a lot. I didn't know people that live here, people that live there. I didn't see people. It was very regional. It was very local. And most of us grew up like that. If you're from the 70s and 80s, there was no internet. And so there was no reason for me to be jealous of a guy that lived in Houston, my age. You know, when I was 14, there was no reason for me to be jealous of a kid in Houston who's selling shoes, making $5,000 a week. Because I would have never known him anyway. You know, would have never seen him. Unless he showed up at my doorstep and said, "Hey, I'm from Houston and I make $5,000 a week," then I was never going to see this guy, never going to meet him. You know, I didn't get on the internet until I might have been 16, and then it wasn't important. It was like, okay, this is the internet, and I got off, you know. And then when I was 19, 20, I got on the internet a little more, but it was just to get an email address, you know what I mean? Hotmail, baby. Yeah, Hotmail. So what I'm saying is, just beware, because they will prey on your emotions. If you are in an emotional state, if you like be careful when you get off of work or when you get done. Like, let's say you want to go to a concert or something like that, and you get upset because you're like, man, I ain't got no money, you know. And you go, man, I'm tired of this. And then, you know, ... Be careful, because that's when you're more susceptible to start looking around online, and you go, yeah, I can do this, I can do that, you know, and you're more vulnerable, and you will spend, you go, yeah, you got to spend money to make money, because you hear people tell you that, and so you don't want to fall into that trap. So be careful about that. Be mindful of your emotional times. You know, don't spend money when you're emotional. That's one thing you must learn not to do. Don't spend money when you're emotional. You'll spend more money. You know, it's like try not to eat when you're emotional, because you'll do more, you know, damage to yourself. You know, you'll start. You know, anytime you get in a bad mood, or you break up with your boyfriend, break up with your girlfriend, you go, man, I'm finna eat a whole pizza by myself, man. Eat a pizza, drink some soda, blah, 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 blah. So just be careful, you know, and just do your own research and be very mindful of what's going on around you. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, like I told you before, you are the expert. You know more than what you think you know. You know a lot. Just you might not have done what you want to do in the field that you're trying to get in, but you have experience. I don't care if you're 12 right now, if you're 16, 18, 21, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65. You have experience. We don't know your experience. You might experience something that none of us have ever experienced, and that is your experience. And you take that and you apply that to whatever you want to do. And you never give up. Give up. Never, ever, ever give up. Do it or die. Try it until you die. You never know how things are gonna turn out. Please listen to me. I'm gonna tell you one more time. Never, ever, ever, ever give up. If you're doing something and it's not working, you sit down, you reboot, you regroup, you figure out what you're doing right, you figure out what you're doing wrong, you get back in there and you fight, you fight, you fight. You learn how to increase your value. We talked about that yesterday. You learn how to increase your value. You learn how to become more Not saying positive, but I'm saying you learn how to become more confident in yourself. Self-confidence. You learn you don't have to be so emotional. You can be passionate. But if you recording for 60 days and nobody's listening, don't quit. It takes a long time to get these things rocking and rolling. It takes a long time to build a structure. I've been driving trucks 17 years and they still are working on the same spot in Chicago that I seen 17 years ago. I am not joking around with you at this moment. A lot of times I go back year after year after year in a different place and they're doing construction. And finally, 5 years, 6 years, they're done. And it's a beautiful layout. It looks beautiful. You know what I mean? And so for you, it might take you 3 years. It might take you 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Does not matter. Take your time. Regroup, reset, but do it or die. Keep going, keep striving, and watch out for all the scam artists. There are more scam artists now, and it does not matter your race, does not matter your nationality. The scam artists are everywhere. I remember I first bought my truck, and I was down at the port in Savannah, Georgia, and I was standing in line to get my port pass because I was going to be working down there picking up loads for the port. And so I went down there to get a port ID. Guy was in line in front of me. Another guy was in line in front of me. The guy said, "Hey man, who you drive for?" I knew what was coming. The guy said, "Hey man, who you drive for?" And he said a name. And the guy said, "I know they ain't paying you no money." And he said, "It's all right." And he said, Yeah. And he gave this guy a sales pitch. He said, "I'm the manager. I'm this, I'm that." You know, and it was obviously that he was a scam artist. You know what I mean? He's like, "You can come work for us and we'll treat you good." And, you know, they referred. He said, "Put me down for a referral and I'll split the money with you," or whatever, you know, however he was saying it. And so it was like, no matter where you're at, no matter what walk of life, you have to be careful of the scam artists because there are scam artists everywhere. I mean, yeah, let's stay with trucking. I see people trying to sell courses about truck driving. What the hell? What the hell is there to sell? You're either gonna buy a truck, run a business, or you ain't. In the trucking business, there's only one thing you can be good with: customer service. They want their loads picked up on time. They want their loads delivered on time. If you can manage that, then you can become successful in the wonderful world of trucking. Okay? But ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Watch out for the scammers. And if you live in Atlanta, you definitely better watch out for the scammers. And if you're in Atlanta, we selling the course how you can become an Atlanta scammer for only $9.99. You know, hey, it's better than Netflix. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We are done. We will be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony D. Rizano. Thank you for listening. God bless. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, go through the archives. We got 500 some episodes. We're almost at 600. I got to do a count. And once we get to the 600 episode, we might make it a special one. All right. But I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. And as always, everybody, peace.